Good evening all. How are we all? Thank you very much for coming and joining us all on this warm, sweaty Friday night. Hope you all had a great week. And we will bring in everybody. Actually, I've got to come over here and do it. We're all here. They're all in the background waiting. Can you hear them all talking?
We're all here, everybody.
So here they are.
Here
we are.
It wasn't me this time.
We've got a room full tonight. So we've got Mum and Dad as always, Terry and Brian.
Hey.
And then we have Doug from Easywood and Christy and Chris joining us. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. So as you may or may not know, Doug, Christy and Chris are all part of the Easywood crew. They come over tonight to talk to us about Easywood, obviously, letting us know how the Yorkshire grit's going and any new products they got coming. Well, not new products, no. The new tools they got promoted, which is the beading tool. So if you've got any questions about Easywood tools, now is your chance to get those questions out and let these guys answer the questions for you. So we've got a video to watch. So, but quickly, before anybody, before we put the video on quickly, has anybody got any quick questions for these guys, or can they hold on to them for 4 minutes? Actually,
I have to stop you there, Steve. JP's crawling already.
Oh no,
he's got his tongue. His tongue is.
Put your tongue back in, JP.
Just put him on. Just put him on timeout. Just put him on timeout.
Lick.
So what we'll do is think about your questions. We'll quickly play the video, and then you guys have got 4 minutes to talk about the questions.
Something good.
So
the
question is who's going to talk us through the video? Who's volunteering to talk us through that? Oh, Christy. Well volunteered. Hang on, I've got all these pop-ups coming up. Right, so I'm going to put you on a video link, which is this one here. So we will enlarge it. So away you go, Christy, all yours.
All right, well, we're excited to show you a little sneak peek behind the scenes of exactly how we make our handcrafted quality products at Easywood Tools in our plant in Lexington, Kentucky. What you're seeing here first are our dowels for our tool handles. They are shaped. It's one of the only steps we do that's automated. Goes through a lot of inspection as it comes out of our CNC machine to make sure everything is exactly in spec. Here, again, we're putting in those copper ferrules that everyone knows are specific to our tools. Hand sanded. That is a big thing that we do here at Easywood Tools. Every one of our tool handles is actually hand sanded to our very tight tolerances and specifications by size, by material. The team just does a great job. The team that sands every day, they are just amazing. They will stand there all day and make sure that these tools are perfect for you guys. Again, more inspections. Probably every stage in our facility goes through an inspection so that we make sure we're putting out the best quality. If it doesn't meet our inspection, it gets put aside. It kind of gets tossed in a bin where it's dismantled and repurposed. Hand painting is going on right here. This is Dave, our paint booth guy. He does this better than anybody else. He lives, breathes, and every day. He is our steady Eddie, putting every paint, every coat of stain that goes on. These are our pros. The Pro Series are the only ones that get hand stained like that. I don't know, there's a lot we could say about Dave, but we probably wouldn't now. He's just an awesome guy in that.
Yeah.
He looks a little like ZZ Top, if you didn't notice. We all call him kind of Top. And then after they come out of our paint booth, they're drying in this process and go through another quality inspection to ensure that our consistency is there. Every material that comes in, every material we produce, again, goes through at least a 10-point inspection, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yep.
This is polishing. This is to ensure that every toolbar looks picture perfect. This is our laser engraving, which honestly, I've wasted a whole day watching this before. It's so mesmerizing. I could stand there and watch it as they come out of, and again, we're not showing everything. There's a few steps that are proprietary in this. Obviously, between paint and where we got to here, there's some things. This is something a lot of people don't know. We are actually the only carbide tool manufacturer that also manufactures their own carbide cutters.
In the world.
In the world, any company. So we have end-to-end control of our product. So this is our carbide cutter facility where we're manufacturing every single carbide cutter that goes with our tools. Again, laser engraving, I could watch this all day. This step here, every single tool goes through this process. It's getting the standard cutter that goes with each tool installed. And one of our final inspections, there is one more after this, but this is one of the final inspections as the team are installing the cutters. Here is Yorkshire grip being made. Also handmade. We don't mass produce anything here. Everything is done with our handmade philosophy. And we are making this absolutely 100% the same way that Glenn Sr. did for all those years. He came over and trained our team. He made sure we had the right equipment and step by step with our team to ensure it's 100% identical and to the standard that everyone expects. And that's kind of our last inspection. When we pick and pack, that's the last view at every one of our tools.
Very good. Very good indeed.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for that, Christy.
Yeah, brilliant.
Very well explained. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
let me just get rid of this screen here. Right.
So you guys will notice that YouTube is about 30 seconds behind.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
So,
See that,
so
yeah.
don't watch the YouTube screen and then comment. You'll be miles behind.
Right. So, thank you very much for that, everybody. Like I say, if you've got any questions, now's your chance to get them answered. The guys are here to answer any questions you may have. I know there are a few people in the chat who use carbides, especially Easy Wood. So, if you've got any questions or any queries, now's the time. And I must admit, I'm very surprised that everything is handcrafted. Because when you see the finish, because I will be honest, the Easy Wood tools always have a lovely finish on their handles. Glossy, high gloss, shine finish. And I'm surprised they're all done by that one. What was his name? Who's
Dave.
Dave,
Dave,
if you're
Dave.
watching this, you do an absolutely awesome
Painter
job.
Dave.
ZZ Top.
ZZ Top. You look a bit like Wayne, actually, in the video.
ZZ Top, or a lot of us just call him Painter Dave.
Painter Dave.
Painter Dave, yeah.
Right, so I'm going to stick these guys in the background. I've got a bowl here. I'm just going to finish off today. I'm just going to finish this. I've done this on a demo a few weeks ago. I'm just going to turn this back and recolor it because it's a bit crazy. So it's a bit too much color. So while I'm doing this, these guys can answer any questions you've got. And if we need to, we will bring them back in a little bit. So if you've got any questions, get them in the chat now. So I'll stick you guys in the background.
Shall I read out the who's in?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
I'll read out then, shall I?
Fire away.
Right. Good evening, everybody. Then welcome aboard to Steve's Live again and the Easy Wood team. So we got Wee Val in the chat, who was first there as usual. She obviously sits there all day because she loves
Just waiting for it.
Steve
Cheers.
Michelle Oosby's in, so Brian better not purchase any more.
That's my wife, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, Mickey.
Yeah.
Mickey's in, yeah. Over 60's in. Wayne the Wood Turner's there. Good evening, Wayne. The Valley Wood Turner Andy Bundy Rowe is in, and his wife Stumpy, which is Lucy, further down the chat. Ruby Clare is in. Brian El Tenero de Madeira is in. Bob P. JP Woodworks. Jamie is in. Hodgepodge Woodworks. Doug Miller is in. Andy from AGK Woodworks. Norman Greenwell. Barry's Wood Creations. Douglas Mungham. Ian Leach. Des Barmo's there. Paul Findley's there. Todd from Glen Cove is there. Mike Evans is in. Fred Gillimer's in. William Kenny's there. From Ireland, to be sure. Roger Kent's in. Malcolm Douglas.
That's a terrible Irish accent.
Well, it sounds like your Irish accent, Brian, in Scottish.
I'm not Irish.
James
Scottish.
Crawford is in. Shane Hurst is in. Clinton Word Dancers. Kevin 9K. The Yorkshire Git. Glenn Senior himself is in. Greg Alexander's in. By the way, Greg Alexander is now walking to your depot. Easy Wood depot. He only lives 20 minutes away, he says. Robert Bortwood is in. Michael McEwen. Dr. Bob from Michigan. And John Scarborough is in. Good evening to you all.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, no, it's Andy is in as well. Mark from Turn Again Krafts is in. I think I've got most of it, if not tough. Right, any questions apart from the question that Douglas Mungham asked about he would miss the meetup with Doug when he was over there? And no, you can't have a #1 Oliver. Buy when you type. Chris from Bailey Woodworks is in as well. No freebies given away today.
We saw JP's question that we'd like to answer.
Yep,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Who thought it was a good idea to have them white shirts in 2017, and we'll be seeing them returning? Yes.
I have to admit that was Doug.
Doug, blame Doug.
That was all Doug.
What are you talking about?
That didn't
Wait,
you?
Thanks, Chris.
What was wrong with the white shirts, JP? Jamie, what was wrong with the white shirts? This is it, you know.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, we kind of stood out like beacons as we were walking through the show, like beep, beep, beep. That was the intent. That's marketing 101. Get attention.
Yeah, exactly.
He stood out in the crowd, that's for sure.
Okay.
That was. I think we only wore them 1 year and we were done.
Dr. Bob is asking it. Well, and he lives in Michigan, so I don't know what the temperature's like there. But he says, "How do you recommend to keep the grit from liquefying in the summer? It melts in the can.
Keep it
Put it in the fridge.
No,
Bob.
actually, I have the same challenge because my personal shop is our garage and it gets hot, Midwest summers. I actually just bring it in the house. I keep everything. There's a lot of products that I have in my kit that does not like the extreme heat. I bring them in the house, keep them in a box, a portable box. But even though it does get a little liquefied, the minute you put it back into what's the word I'm looking for?
Ambient.
An ambient
Place.
Temp.
it will bring it back to a solid. So it does not have that effect on the product. It doesn't have any effect on the longevity of it. It's really just something that, from a temperature standpoint, will happen with it. So that's kind of how I handle it.
Yeah, I suppose you could just dip your paper towel in it and away you go. You know, it's not a problem, is it? It works.
Yeah, gets a bit messy though.
Sorry, Bob, you're gonna have to take
It's too
it.
liquid.
Take it to your cool room, mate.
Just put it in the
take the
fridge.
lathe into the kitchen and keep that cool. The
Yeah.
air conditioning.
Hey, just open
Turn
the
in
fridge
the
doors
kitchen.
and just turn them in front of the
Yeah.
fridge. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
And that's another reason why we don't wear white shirts. You put that on your leg, you turn it on, and it's everywhere.
I think they
Black
get it.
hides everything better.
I think they're getting onto you, Doug.
True.
Sorry?
I said, I think they're picking on you.
They're getting on there.
Just a little bit. I'm used to it, though. I got thick skin.
Yeah. The Yorkshire Grit says, "What is this Yorkshire Grit, Doug?" Well, I'll take it. He's forgotten already. Drunk.
Yeah, I know.
I'll sleep
I
since
tried to put it
Saturday.
out of my memory. So not only has Chris and Christy been together for 30 years, Chris and Christy,
Oh, you lost your audio then.
we've known each other nearly 30 years, so I can take it.
Oh, that's good then. That's good.
I can dish it.
And I keep the peace.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Kevin 9K is asking a question. He says, "Do your carbide tips fit other makes? Can they buy
Oh, make up
tips
tool
to
handles.
Other
They
tools?"
do. That is a great question, and one we get a lot. They do. The challenge is we can't tell you which ones they do and don't fit. And it all boils down to, imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery,
Right.
and we are often imitated. But we can't tell if every other manufacturer since EasyWood Tools started designed their toolbar to accept our cutters. So it's very difficult for us to determine which can and can't fit identically. The one thing we will say to be very careful on is our brand new beading cutters, because they are designed to exactly, and Chris, I'll let you cover that. If you can see up close on this, the way they're designed on the back end
Hang
to
on,
perfectly
hang on,
see
Hang
in
on,
the rubber.
I'll bring you in.
Get you on full screen just in a second. Just hold it up again, Christy.
Hold up.
Oh, yeah. If Chris, if you want to talk about that back end on the beading
Sure.
cutter.
So, like all of our cutters, and the reason why some fit our cutters, some fit some other tools, and some they do not. Our cutters are designed to not only mount in the downward position and lock in place, but they also lock against a positive stop shoulder. So there's 2 points of contact that'll never allow that carbide to shift when you're using it.
Twist, yeah.
Everyone knows, you put something together, you lock it down with a screw, and you go to work. But when you're turning, there's heat involved, there's moisture involved. Sometimes you're turning green wood or wet wood, and those will affect the hold of that joint. And if you're just fastening your carbide in the downward position, there's always potential for that thing to shift while you're using it. That would not be pretty. So all of our tools are designed with a 2-point contact, downward, in this way, straight down, and against a positive stop. It's even more critical that you have that fit with our beading cutters, because as you can see, the geometry of a beading cutter, everyone knows what a bead looks like, but as you're pushing that into your workpiece, you're actually capturing that carbide inside the workpiece. And if that thing should loosen or shift, that would be catastrophic. Okay?
Very good.
So we answered yes, but it depends on the tool.
Depends on the tool. Okay, welcome to Susie the Swiss Word Turner. She's just joined us as well, as is Dara Coolan. And Grandma Ruth Tube, that's my wife. Oh, she's off. Here we go. Look, question from her. Small question. How long from buying Yorkshire grit did it take you to produce it yourselves?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
From Glenn.
So the process included, once we worked through the process of acquiring the company from Glenn, we knew when we were negotiating with Glenn that part of what we wanted to do was bring Glenn over to Lexington, Kentucky, where our manufacturing is done, so that he could help us set up our manufacturing process so that we ensured that we were doing everything in the same fashion, identically to the way Glenn had been doing it for years prior. We also wanted to make sure that we had a one-to-one comparison with the materials that we would be purchasing here in the States to what Glenn had been using previously. And he'd also train our employees on the process. So we knew that we wanted to do that right from the get-go, and it was part of our negotiation process that we knew we would be bringing Glenn over. So it didn't take long once the paperwork was signed to put that trip together.
30 days?
About a month or so.
Yeah.
Glenn's on here. He probably remembers about 30 days.
Yeah.
The whole of the UK remember, trust me, he went out everywhere with it. It's not a problem, even BBC News.
I think Lexington is still talking about Glenn down there. The entire city loved him.
2 bars have gone bankrupt since Glenn's gone home.
Good question there then,
So
Braith.
while we were at AAW, people came up when Glenn was sitting in the booth with us, and they go, "Did he come with the purchase of the company?" So it's kind of like our mascot.
Joe might say yes, he does. Good evening to Wayne Bigford. He's joined us as well. Hello, Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
Dr. Bob was asking. Dr. Bob was asking, what size and pitch of bolts do you use, and do you sell replacements? He's talking about the Allen screws for keeping the cutters on.
They break them, maybe.
They vary depending on which tool it is. So there are, if I'm correct, 3 different sizes on those that we use. 2 different sizes. I would have to pull that up for you. That's a great question on exactly what the size screws are. Depending on where you're located, we can send you a few. We do have customers that have lost them and things like that, so we can send you a couple. Outside of the country, obviously, shipping charge might come through. But to know specific to the tool, if you're looking for some replacements, email customer service at easywoodtools.com, and they will get you every which tools have which screws, which screws have which hex keys.
Yeah. Another thing that you
They're
can do
also-
too,
yeah.
Axminster loaded up on some extras here recently, just in case customers come by looking for those types of information and or items.
I believe Dr. Bob is US based, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in
He is,
Kentucky.
yeah.
He's in Michigan.
Yeah.
Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, he's almost Canadian, you could say.
He's
couldn't you?
almost Canadian. Yeah, he's across the
Yeah,
water
he's
from
almost
Canada. Yeah.
Canadian. You know, he's just well.
Yeah.
He's not far from
Opposite.
Ruby Claire.
Yeah, it's
So I
just
apologize,
upgrade.
we don't know the exact sizes off the top of our head, but if you email our customer service team, they'll get right back to you on that.
Right.
Screw
JP
has
has
a
said
point, Krafts.
he always has people asking me for the Allen wrenches. Yeah,
Yep.
the one I bought you, the one I bought the other day has a 1.5 mil Allen wrench,
Well, you can get
tiny.
them in England.
and the screw is that small. If you drop it in your workshop, you ain't finding it again.
And Todd says, do you give tours of your work facility?
We typically do not.
Secret.
There are a couple of reasons why we don't. There are some proprietary things that we do that we don't necessarily show. We don't have a storefront, so there's no reason for us to be open to the public. And then there's the security and safety of our team that we're always on the forefront of, is to make sure that we kind of keep our building secure there. So those are some of the top three we do. Now, we have been known in special circumstances to accommodate a tour, but typically we might do that after production stops and be able to control the tour.
And a question from Andy saying, can you settle an argument? Which shape of tool is for the finishing tool? He thinks it's the round one, but is he correct?
Yes, he is.
Yes, you are.
Yep.
It's the
So
round
the
one.
round one, it depends on the round one, because we have two round ones. One's finishing, but another one we use for hollowing.
Right.
So all of our hollowing tools have the round cutter on it as well. And we know we have a very, very large fan base of our #1 hollower.
I do.
You do?
I think
Yeah.
I think there might even be a social media site that has already started for #1 hollower.
Don't give Jamie any ideas.
I think he already did. I
He
think
may
JP
have.
already did that one. So that is also the round one. So it can be used for hollowing, finishing. Depending on what you're using it for, I've used it start to finish on a project too, if it's the bigger round, and what material it is. Great question.
Douglas Mung was asking, how long did it take you to set up a carbide cutter cut and design system? How long?
Well,
You want me to talk about the
We-
history?
but yeah, well, let us use that as a segue
Yeah.
to a little bit of history of the company real quick,
If you
and then we'll
kind
answer that.
of indulge us for a minute, I think that the history of Easywood Tools, Easywood Tools was started in 2008 by a avid wood turner and woodworker that had a great idea. He really wanted to make wood turning easier, safer, and more available to turners of all skill levels, and to do that by spending more time turning and less time maintaining tools. So really, what he did from there, it was the idea behind actually this one right here, the Easy Rougher. And what he did was he knew that industrial cutters, we've all seen them, they've been in planers, they've been around for a long time, the square planing cutters.
Metalworking.
Metalworking, they were in metalworking.
Yeah, that's right.
They were
I
way
used to use
too,
those when I was 16.
yep,
Mhm.
they were way too aggressive for wood turning. So he knew he had to find a solution to that. And through all of his research, it actually led him to Chris. Chris has been in carbide for his entire career. He's a mechanical engineer who had a carbide manufacturing facility at the time. And the gentleman reached out to Chris and said, here's what I want to do. So Chris kind of rose to that challenge to take on the task of designing the first replaceable carbide insert designed specifically for wood turning, and then manufacturing it as well. I'm gonna, the R&D time on that, I mean, how long was that? If memory serves, at least 6 months.
It was at least that long, and like Christy said, when we started, there was one shape of one size of cutter that he brought to us. He needed it. He had a couple of things in mind. One, he wanted an all made in America product, which is what drove him to locate our company, our carbide facility. He also needed to ensure that the carbide cutters that he would put on his tools would be the sharpest cutters possible and the longest lasting edge possible. So we went through it easily 6 months. It was probably closer to a year of different grade tests, grades of carbide, because there are literally, as Doug can attest, hundreds of grades of carbide. We also went through dozens of grinding techniques and processes
Profiles.
to optimize the grind and the grade of carbide together to achieve the two objectives: the longest lasting, sharpest edge possible.
Yeah.
So it probably took close to a year to finalize that, and we'd make samples, we'd ship them to him. He'd do his testing in house. He'd come back with the results of the test. We'd do some tweaking. We'd try to do more variables, and we'd go back and forth with that one. Once we had that process down, it pretty much carried over across all of the, at the time, the shape and size of cutters that he wanted to employ on all of his tools.
On each supplemental tool, actually, that came after that. That was probably pretty much all of 2007 was doing that. And then in 2008, EasyWood tool launched.
Yep.
And we had Chris's Carbide Company being the sole manufacturer and designer through the line. And then fast forward to 2016 when the Caliendo family purchased EasyWood tools, and pretty much continuing that process of developing innovative and useful tools and accessories. Kind of our motto is we're here to solve problems and make turners' lives easier. So that's pretty much the philosophy. We hadn't been doing that from the get-go, honestly, from 2008 and then 2016 since we came on board. But great question. That was a long process. Give you an idea, even our negative rake. Everyone knows our negative rake carbide cutters. That was probably a good year just to get from initial thought to final production. Was probably a good year of all the testing and all the iterations kind of that go into that. Right?
Fine, beautiful, yeah. And Hodgepodge Woodworks, I think he's in Texas, asks the question, any plans to develop tools to put in a captured hollowing system or develop a capturing hollowing system yourself? That could be a secret.
Well,
they could be doing that now.
I'm assuming that he's talking about like the capture system that controls the end of the tool for hollowing.
Yes.
It's not like a pouring
like a hollowing jig,
basically. Like a jig, so it's
maybe
locked
a
in
current
and you
system
move
or
it
a
around.
laser system on it. Something like that, maybe.
So last year we introduced our Pro Hollower series, and the number the number one Pro Hollower. She's going to go get one. We just happen to have one here.
No surprise.
EasyWood R&D Lab North here in Chicagoland. So the Pro number one hollower was designed to give you the deepest reach possible without having a secondary apparatus. So I'm kind of a believer in hand tools are meant to be hand tools, and secondary apparatus takes that a little bit of that away. So I've tried to focus on not using any kind of stabilizing or free roll systems that are out there type of thing. So I've not looked at doing that yet. We have the deepest reach number one hollower that you can use. We know that because we push the limits when we develop new tools or new technology. There are tools sitting in my office in Lexington where we do our development that went well beyond the extreme. So we push the limit and we find where that line is, and and we go way beyond it to make sure that what we've done is the best possible design that we can use. So with this number one hollower, and I'm trying to stall a little bit because she's coming back down right now.
That's all right.
I hear her.
She's thumping around there. It's not that small.
Just
She
while
should have found it,
we're
yeah.
waiting for
Didn't
Christy to
fall on
come
the
back.
tool.
Old Man River has a question. He says he has an easy finisher, and the Allen screw, he rounded the hole on it. But JP answered them a little bit further on in the chat there. So
Ruby Claire
question
has
has
a
been
quick
answered.
question actually.
Yeah.
She says, Ruby says, will the beading cutters fit on the square cutters on the post of the square
it
cutter?
fits on the CI2 tool.
As
I've
long as
just
it's
found
on
it.
the CI2 tool, yes.
Great
So-
question. We actually designed it to fit on 3 of them that all accept, and we chose this one because there are so many different size options. Our CI2 is our easy start, our mini, and our mid-size. So these 3 size tools will all accept all of the beading cutters. And the great thing about that, with the 4 beading cutters, the standard square, the standard radius, and the negative rake, these 3 tools will now basically be 7 tools in one. You can swap out a cutter and get 7 different purposes on one toolbar.
Good idea.
Cool.
And
There you go.
for those that were asking the number one, the Pro Hollower, I needed a
Size of it.
crane to
I
bring
have
them
one now.
down here.
I have one now. So most people that are familiar with Easy Wood Tools products are familiar with our mid-size
Oh, I
tool.
should have brought that.
They're our most popular tool we sell the most of. So most people have a kind of a good idea of the size of what a mid-size tool is.
Ties.
But I'm going to bring the number one hollower in
It's a beast.
besides this mid-size tool, and you can see it's almost, the handle itself is almost as long as this tool is on its own.
You'll have to go on the
I'm
diagonal.
going to have to back up to
There you go.
get this tool in the shot
how's
here.
this? How about if we
Yeah.
put it right?
It is a beast of a
here?
tool.
Yeah. To see it, or
So-
on an angle.
So as I was saying, last year we brought out the number one
Sorry.
Pro Hollower that will give you the deepest reach into a hollow form or a hollow vessel that you can do without having a secondary apparatus or a controlling device out here at the end to help stabilize that.
Right.
And by the way, you can turn a pen with this.
A big pen.
Don't know why you want it,
If you
but
want to.
An 8-foot long pen,
it was
4 inches
challenged.
diameter.
I was challenged
Can't turn a
last year
pen.
that you couldn't turn a pen
Yes,
with
you
that, so of course I did.
I had the
I
privilege to
couldn't see the pen.
I had the privilege to
So-
have a go with it, Glenn's, when he came back from you guys after coming over, showing you guys how to use Yorkshire grit, or to make the Yorkshire grit, should I say? He came to mine and he brought his number one hollow just to rub it in a little bit, and we turned the vase.
As he
Actually,
does.
I think the vase is in the cupboard, but we turned a nice deep vase. So I have had the privilege of using one. They're a very good tool.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Right,
Thanks, Steve.
just like to say good evening to things for Abrasives. He's just joined us. Old Man Rivers joined us, and somebody else. And I'm just trying to find who that was now because I forgot. Oh, and Ben Jamin's joined us.
Ben
In
Jamin's
fact, Ben
on
got
there.
a question. He says, "Have you guys tried manufacturing cutters from Valerian steel? Obviously, been watching too many movies."
Valerian steel. What is he like?
Yeah. When
We
is the
have
next
not.
show?
I have a
says Wayne.
question. I have a
When
question.
is the next show? And are we
What
doing
show?
one in the UK?
Oh.
Oh, there's a good one.
Next show that Easy Wood Tools would be at
Yeah.
in the UK?
Yeah.
Actually, we're not sure yet. We've been discussing that internally, so.
Yeah.
We actually don't have a definitive answer, but definitely we want to get back to the UK in some show or some way. Would love to see everybody out there and
Right.
be a part of a show.
Harrogate might be a good one for you. Harrogate.
I was just going to say, Harrogate keeps coming up as the number one.
Yep.
It is the number
So-
one venue.
The
Yeah.
number one tool show, yeah.
It is
We have had a
huge.
discussion, but we haven't had a final decision yet. Basically, Doug doesn't know yet he's going.
Yeah, Doug, that's probably what it is. You could surprise him on camera and do it now.
Yeah, no pressure.
And then everybody in the chat will be there to see him. So yeah.
And she's HR. I can't even say anything.
Well, Ruby Claire has a question about the shape of the handle. Why did you put the semi-bead near the bottom of the handle, as it prevents the hand from sliding smoothly down the handle?
Oh,
Well, I believe some people would think that as a benefit.
feel.
It was designed for ergodynamics, and as Christy told you about with the history of the company, we've been involved with EasyWood tools from the beginning, but we did not design the shape of these handles, but we do have the history of it. We understand why he did it, why it was done this way compared to other shapes and sizes. So basically, you wanted to have the double bump, if you will, or the two hand positions for different types of turning. So if you're doing just a simple cleaning up of a non-round shape, or just some general turning like that, and you want to maximize the control, you're going to grab as far back as possible. And the bump in the handle kind of stabilizes your hand from moving around and slipping as you're turning. Oh, the burn?
Yeah, I think the question was on the wire burn grooves.
No. The question is about the two-step
bead.
handle. That's what
okay.
she means with the bead there on the halfway
Okay.
down the handle, the third
So
of the way
you-
down the handle.
Safety
It's
factor,
basically
too.
two hand positions.
Yep.
For maximum control, hold the handle as far back as possible. When you're doing some finer detail work with the same tool, you'll hold it up towards the center of the tool
Or how.
to get a better control for finer work. Maybe with
Yeah.
a
For a bit
bead-
more finesse.
beading, for like a beading tool, I would definitely grab this as close up to this end for doing my beading work than I would way back here, because I'm going to have finer control.
Okay, so we got Robert Klingspor has a question. He says, when you develop tools, is it from feedback stroke demand, or from customers, from your customers, or from your personal experience in seeing the need?
Yes,
Yes, and yes.
All of the above, yeah.
Yes, all of those,
Yes,
Robert.
yes.
all
Yeah.
three. You know,
So-
people will talk to us. A lot of especially in recent years since we've taken over, we'll get customers. I think I said earlier, we're about solving a problem. So we'll listen, and we'll be at a show, we'll be having conversations, and people will say, you know what? I always seem to have this problem, and we hear it enough, it kind of sits back here and percolates. And can we solve that problem? And can we do it? Can we do it safely, easily, cost effectively? Those are some of the things. And then sometimes people just, they might either give us an idea, or can you make this better? I've made this, Can you make it better?
Yeah, Christy's hitting on a key point there. I would say that probably at least 80% of the new product development that we've been involved with since 2016 has come from customer feedback or customer issues or challenges. And our negative rate cutters is probably the most predominant example of that. Back 5 or 6 years ago or so, when resin turning exploded with popularity onto the scene, people were using their standard tools, whether they're high-speed steel or their carbide, and they're having all kinds of issues with it. And they brought those challenges to us, and we solved that with our negative rate technology. So that's a prime example, and that was just a huge kudo to EasyWood tools, because there's not been anything. People have said that was the greatest development in turning since carbide came out. It was just that much of an improvement over anything else that was available on the market at the time, and still is.
Right. So the idea for the solution didn't come from customers as more as the problem people kept presenting to us and saying, how do we solve for that? There's a lot in the hopper, but there's also a lot that we get coming to us and go, yeah, it either won't fit with our business model, we do focus our efforts on turning. That we're not diversified into 17 different areas, so we try and consolidate the old principle: do less and do it better. And we focus on wood turning, so sometimes we'll get kind of out there ones, but if there's a crossover need, and Yorkshire Grit's a great example. You can use that on flat work, you can use it on anything, and that made sense.
Right,
great.
right.
It's if we can do it with the high quality standards that we're known for, we'll certainly take a look at it.
The other key point that I wanted to make is that we do look at different types of development projects as opportunities that are on the whiteboard, if you will. But we never want to develop a product for Easy Wood Tools that will make us just another one of what's already out there.
Me
If we
too.
can't
Yeah.
find
Okay.
we don't want to be a me too. If we can't find a way to improve on an existing technology, it doesn't really make sense for us to bring it out because we're just another one.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Yeah, so,
Hollow
That's
is kind of one
a good
example
point.
of that.
so Dr. Bob is asking, are your tools available without the handles?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are. We do sell them unhandled on our website. That is the only place you can purchase them, is directly from us on our website. And obviously they do come with whatever are the standard cutter, they come with that, but no handle.
Yep.
We only ask that, if you're going to make your own, make sure it's safe.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, some turners like to have a different shape handle or whatever, so they,
Right.
I kind of following on from that question, it's a question I've always had in my head. How far into the handle does the tool go?
Depends on the tool.
Yeah. Obviously, the bigger the tool.
How about you cut yours, Brian, and then buy another one?
Yeah.
Good idea.
yeah.
You know how much I had to pay for that.
Breaks it. It won't be
Yeah.
long before he drops it and breaks it, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah,
good.
once I break the cutter, the first time I drop is
Yeah.
Yeah, the tang's a little different on each tool. Obviously, there's a science behind that to make sure that they're safe, weighted, balanced. So depending on the size of the tool, that tang it varies by toolbar and by size of the tool.
Brian, can you stick Easy Wood's website in, please, so people can go over and have a look, please?
I will do
So
that.
following on
small
Ruby
thing.
Claire from her question about the double depth handles, she said personally she doesn't find the handles to be ergonomic. She has better control when her hand can smoothly slide along. Perhaps you might offer them without the bump, the handles.
We do on our Easy Start. That is the only one we don't have it.
Yeah.
So our Easy Start we don't, but we'll certainly take that into consideration kind of down the road as we look at our product line. Thank you for that feedback.
Okay, there's JP's put it in and Brian. There's easywoodtools.com. So www.easywoodtools.com. Everybody go and have a look.
Thank you,
He
JP.
was just a fraction quicker than I was.
Yeah, well, he's not nothing else to do. He just types all day.
Yeah, that's true. He's just afraid does nothing all day, every day.
Yeah.
Apparently.
That's
Now he
it.
wants it, and now apparently in a little bit further up in the chat, he wants his name on the number one hollow. What's that about?
I know. He's already pitched that to us.
Yeah.
No, he's not having it. He's not having
He
it.
Hey,
wants
what-
his own line of
JP, they want to increase sales, mate. They want to increase sales.
Yeah.
Right.
Not here to give things away.
No, no, Jamie.
So yeah, currently there's 80 people watching
Wow.
at the
Thank you
moment.
very
Just to
much,
let you
everybody.
know.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching you turn, Steve. By the way.
Oh no.
It's lovely colours from
Well,
that bowl,
there
Steve,
is
by the
one
way.
person watching you. I think it's DJ Krafts who's joined us, and Tendring Return has joined us. DJ Krafts says, "Wow, that looks like my grandchildren's crayons that got left out in the sun and melted on the deck yesterday." So
That's where I-
obviously,
that's where I
he
got
spotted you turning.
That's where I got the inspiration from.
I love it.
Just call it crayon.
Very cool.
And Klingspor Abrasives, Rob says he's wondering, is there a demand for lady size handles versus men's size handles? Well, you can't say that, Rob. That's like
Sexist.
HR.
Sexist.
Yeah, that's not allowed anymore.
mean,
You can't say
no,
things like that.
no.
Ruby would say she can grab out any handle, any big handles. There's no
Well,
problem there.
Actually,
I personally like this tool, but wait. There, now it's lady size.
That's it, yeah.
this is designed for me.
So,
We don't, I mean, we've never gotten that question before.
No.
I think it's all turning style. I have to be honest, I'm a little bit of a tucker. I tuck under my arm when I turn. I just find I get a little more control that way, depending on what I'm doing. When I'm hollowing, that's a different story, but I honestly, I don't think we've ever had that question before.
And really, as you know, as you all know, the size of the tool is related to the size of the project.
Correct.
Obviously, you can do small projects with big tools, but it's not wise to do large projects with small tools.
Correct.
And last time I checked, a 12-inch bowl doesn't know if it's me turning it or her turning it.
no, it doesn't.
More about the project than it is who's turning it.
Or it could be the result, though, depending on who's turning it. Me.
With that said, let me borrow your salesman hat. Easy Wood Tools has a full line of turning tools with several sizes, from our micro tools for pen turners to our mid-size, our mini tools, our easy starts, our mid-size, our full size, and our pro series.
Have you been practicing that?
I have.
Boy, any-
Well, I just came back from back-to-back trade shows, so I'm got a pretty good going on here.
8
I'm
days
warmed up.
together.
Well, Lucy does say she needs small tools because she's got tiny little hands. But she is only
So
4.
the micros would be a good one. That's the other one that won't have that second bump in it. The micro tools, like Christy showed the Easy Start. I don't think you have a micro sitting there, do you, Christy?
No.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hang on, she's off.
So yeah,
She's
we
off
do.
again.
She's off.
Grab a pint.
What's it?
Andy has got an almost sensible question. He says, "Do you make a tool that doesn't leave tool marks?"
No, Andy,
Yeah,
that's down to you.
that's you.
Yorkshire grit.
You know,
That one's called Yorkshire grit.
that's down to you.
That's
Andy.
your fault, Andy. I'm afraid.
If you're a rubbish turner, Andy, you never get better. So just bear with it, boy. And yes, Andy. Talk to Rob at Klingspor Abrasives. He'll help you out.
Yeah, because
He's the man for
he
that
does some
job.
20 grit sandpaper. You'll be all right.
Six grit.
Six grit.
sandpaper.
Just get the gravel off the driver and rub it on there. That'll be fine.
I'll do it.
I hope you're not looking for sympathy, Andy.
No, you're not going to get it.
By the time I'm
Not at
done,
all.
I'll have every tool down here.
JD Krafts, right? I didn't spray anything on before I coloured it. I coloured it, then I sealed it with chestnut cellulose sand and sealer. Then I put the ebonizing wax over the top of it.
It's ebonizing wax you put on.
There's the mini hollowers. That's and he's got the mini hollow. Chrissy's got the mini
Oh, they are
mini
small.
These
hollowers.
are actually our
Those are the micros.
turners.
Micros. That's that micro
Yeah,
one.
make sure the micro, they are the smallest. Here's just to give you an example. Here's
Well, they
our
come in a nice set too.
pro and the pro.
It's almost the size of the back of
It's
the handle,
almost
that one.
the size of the small handle, yeah.
So that is the
Yeah.
smallest one. But it's funny you said, because while I was going to get those, I thought, we also have our mini hollowers. You just said mini hollowers, which this is basically that #1 hollower in a mini form for doing small work.
So what's the maximum reach on that? What's the maximum depth reach on that one then?
I believe this one is 3 inches,
That one-
if memory serves.
That's good
About
for
3-inch
boxes.
diameter, and with the minis, it really goes down to the minor, not the maximum. Because those are perfect for small projects like ornaments. And
Finials, tiny finials.
So maybe you guys could help Old Man Rubber out a little bit. He says he can't loosen his the square cutter on his finishing tool because the Allen screw is rounded.
Wait,
Well, that's bad technique, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's obviously when he's maybe had some shavings in the thing and not got the key connected.
Can you get
properly,
a little easy
and
out?
it's rounded it out.
Little
Can
tiny,
is there some method of getting
little
it?
tiny Torx bit I would use.
Yeah.
yep. Basically, a couple of things on the screw. First, if you did round it out, if you go to our website under FAQs,
Yep.
we have a little PDF you can open that gives some hints on how to remove a stuck screw. The key things that I tell everybody, and this might be where male female does come in handy. On that screw, first off, make sure it's free of debris. I use a little paper clip. If I'm turning wet wood, it definitely gets that sap and stuff in there. A little goof off or glue remover in there. It won't hurt the carbide. It won't hurt the screw. It clears that debris out of there, because you have to make sure that hex key is fully seated into the bottom of that, or else it'll strip out if you're only grabbing the top. When you tighten that down, we don't need to be Incredible Hulk and really yank that thing in there.
Yeah.
Just bring it just to resistance. As soon as you get that resistance, let go. Don't crank that thing in there. That's the biggest tips I can give everybody on the screw.
Fine. Klingspor Abrasives again. Rob says, sorry, this whole thing fascinates me, he says. In his industry, which is abrasives, HAVS vibration damage is a massive thing. Is it something you consider in the turning tool sector? No, I'll take it.
Can we say that again?
What is HAV, Rob? What is HAVS?
Is that not vibration for it?
Vibration damage through your hands, is it? In their industry, it's a massive thing. They consider vibration through sanding and things. Obviously, give your joints stress, etc. Is that something you've got to consider in the turning industry? I don't know. In the turning tool sector.
Well, I will say that vibration in turning is always a bad thing, because it will affect the finish of your project. It will increase the amount of sanding that you're doing. So our tools are designed to be one piece. They are solid one-piece construction from end to end. There are tools out there on the market that you can replace the shaft with a different shape end on the shaft, and they fasten together. We don't like those tools, because anywhere you have a fastened joint, you have the possibility of vibration. So we get asked quite a bit, can you swap out the toolbar in your handle to a different shaped carbide toolbar? We do not do that, and that's the main reason why.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, cool. Then another question from Kev at 9K says, does the beading cutters fit the micro handles?
No.
Oh.
That, unfortunately, they do not. That is a CI6. It's actually our, there, I'll give it as an example. I don't have one.
You might see a CI6 beading cutter coming out. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know. That's a good one.
But that's kind of the difference. The CI2 is this one, and
Nice.
this is our CI6. It's the smallest rougher we have. So we did not do that. With
Quite a bit
a lot
thinner.
of things, you might see one. Even when we first did our negative rake, we didn't have them for every single toolbar. There were certain sizes, and then when we expanded the line, probably the best example, when we first launched our micro tools, we were the first to come out with that elongated, if you guys can see that,
Yep, point two.
elongated diamond, and we put it on our micro tools. And we had overwhelming kind of customers coming back going, I love this thing. You can get in there in places you just can't, but can you put it on a bigger tool? And about a year later, we came out with it on our mid-size handle.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Okay. Yeah, Douglas Mungham's saying he's just been on your site and he can't see any price listing for your unhandled tools.
Where is he located?
He's in England. He's just been on your website. Says he can't find the listing for the unhandled.
All right, shop here. Pick your country you live in, and that'll bring up all the categories. And then if you scroll down, there will be a category that's called unhandled tools.
Okay, so go to the shop here on the website, then enter your country, Douglas.
Right, pick UK or pick all others. And that should bring you up to the prices for that. The shipping is the only thing with our international customers on our website.
Standard.
Shipping is quoted after a purchase.
Right.
Robert Hodgepodge.
Yep.
Work says, any plans for making cupped cardboard cutters?
Cupped cutters.
We currently do not have a plan for developing a cupped cutter. We don't feel that there's a need for it. With our standard cutters, the aggressive cut that you get with a standard cutter is more than enough to turn the materials that we are turning. Our negative rake technology takes care of everything else.
Right.
I've just thought of a question actually, which do they turn brass? Do they turn soft metals? Can you turn them?
Yes.
Yep.
You can turn brass.
People make their own furrows sometimes.
Copper.
Make finials out of platinum. Not platinum. What's it called?
Platinum. Expensive finial.
You know, those pewter.
Pewter is the word you were looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
So
they do. Okay, that's fine.
Carbide is the second hardest element on the planet. The only thing harder on the face of the earth than carbide is diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When we grind our carbide, we grind it with diamond grinding wheels because that's the only thing that will cut it. So if you keep that in mind, carbide will pretty much cut anything else.
But diamond.
But diamond.
Well, you could make a diamond cutter, I suppose. That one.
And that's why carbide is used extensively in metalworking.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
Has been.
Wayne Bigford's asking, is my wife the only person who cleans her Easy-Wood tools spotless and places them delicately back in the box?
No, she's
for
not.
her.
In the tube to store them. No,
In the
lots of
tube,
people
too.
do, Wayne.
I
No,
do as well.
she is not, but I would love to see pictures of that. I think we need some pictures of those pristine, clean tools.
Yeah.
As long as there's a mess underneath the lathe.
Right.
I'm very proud of her.
She's,
Oh, you don't point looking at my workshop then. There's no mess under mine.
Val makes a mess, trust me. He does. Do they
Ours
make
are-
CBN? Oh, yeah. Expert says, do they make CBN cutters, or is it not suitable?
Oh, Douglas is saying, sorry,
CBN cutter.
sorry, Terry. Go
Or
ahead.
wheels, is that? Who are you talking about? Easy would make CBN cutters. Don't know.
No.
I've heard of CBN wheels.
Don't know what
For
CBN
sharpening tools. But
No.
don't know what you mean, Rob.
It's for sharpening. Yep.
I think Douglas is complaining about, no, I don't know if it's a complaint or not, he's just at a point he's pointing out, he says he's looked at the website, put in his country, but he can't find the price list.
Oh, the price list. Yeah, that's what I said, the price.
I pulled it up and I was looking at it. There's anything he's looking for, I could tell you what it is, but yeah, we did have to go to the country.
Christy's jumping over there right now, so she'll probably be able to step him through one moment.
Paul Campbell just says, if it's about a mess in the workshop, I'm the Easy-Wood poster boy in that case. No, it's not that kind of mess, Paul.
You can't
Sorry,
even get
not that
into
kind of
Paul's
mess.
workshop.
That's untidy, Paul, not
All
just a mess on the floor.
He may have missed one step. If it's the first time visiting our site, after you hit click all shop here, select all countries, you're going to get a pop-up notifying you of international shipping charges. In that box, there is a click here to continue. Click on the click here to continue, and it's going to bring you to our shop. And you'll see the 1, 2, 3rd row down on the left says unhandled.
And the prices are in there.
And the
Any
prices.
prices of you?
Yeah, right underneath the toolbar.
And those
J.D.
prices are.
Roy the boys in. Terry, Roy the boys in, did you know?
He's been in for the last half hour.
Yeah, I chose to ignore him because it's only Roy. Have you guys any thoughts on black line diamond carbide cutters? Don't know what that is, but obviously JD Krafts does. Don't know. Got their own JD.
Black uses a diamond cutter, don't they, Doug?
Say again, Chris?
Isn't Blackline the company that's using the diamond
Yeah,
cutter?
synthetic diamond, yep.
Synthetic diamond, which really it's overkill. It's expensive and it's overkill.
And it's not very ductile either. So if you get an interrupted cut or an inclusion or something, diamond will not forgive. It'll break.
No forgiveness.
Because carbide
Yeah,
is metal cutting 101, and that was what it was designed for. So diamond's not going to do well on anything that gives it any type of impact.
You got to take something that take a shock. I mean, you got to have something to take.
Andrew
Right.
AJK Woodworks has got the right
Yeah,
answer.
there's a mix. You got to have it do both, hold an edge and take some abuse.
Use, yeah.
Andrew from AJK Woodworks says, "Don't worry about the price, guys. The tools are worth it."
They are.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Lucy says she's found the price and it's in dollars, but you can convert that, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So if Lucy can find it, Douglas, you can.
Thumbs up, Lucy.
Thanks, Lucy.
Yeah.
So Dave G Designs has just come in. He says, "I recognize those angelic voices."
Even
Sounds like
Dave.
my boys, Doug and Chris.
I must not have met Dave since he doesn't recognize mine.
Ooh.
That's Dave Gunner. Yeah.
She got red hair, Dave. You might. She got red hair. You might.
How you doing, Gunner?
Gunner. Wayne says Valerie uses traditional tools and carbide tools. The #1 hollower is great for her arthritic hands, and is the beading. He's forgot to finish the rest of the sentence. Finish the rest of the sentence, Wayne. Have another drink.
And you know, a lot of our customers do. We've never, obviously we sell carbide tools, but what we find is most people will use a mix of both. There are,
Right.
here from High Speed Steel only, that say there are cuts and there are projects they just can't get to with their High Speed Steel, and they'll jump over to carbide, and vice versa, depending on material. Honestly, it comes down a lot to personal preference too, because carbide can pretty much do anything High Speed Steel can, but it's preference. We like it and promote it, and obviously it was invented to do just what it was meant to. Have people that enjoy this hobby spend more time on the hobby, less time on the tools.
Hodgepodge says, "Are you guys got any plans to attend SWAT in August?"
Yes, we know that Doug will be there.
I will be there.
Doug will be there, Robert. No problem.
And Ruby Claire's followed that up with, "Will you have demonstrators at the Toronto show in October?"
Another show in discussion, yeah. It's another show we are in discussions about. I know it's coming up before you know it, but I attended the first one just before COVID and haven't not been back since. So not saying we won't, but it's in discussions.
Dr.
So-
Bob asks, will
It
you be
sounds
selling...
like Doug will be going there after Harrogate.
So you got
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Harrogate's in November.
Harrogate's in November.
Oh, poor Harrigan.
So you have to go there first and then go to Harrogate.
Yeah.
Well, if you fly to Toronto and do that show, it's not that far to Harrogate, Cross.
Okay.
Just to skip
Okay.
across the
Done
pond, as they
deal.
say.
Yeah, that's good.
So a
And
couple of
Dr.
the
Bob
guys,
says, will you be selling tools through the US veteran sales channel? ?
Actually, we're not familiar with that.
But we
So,
like
Bob, they're
to.
not familiar. You might like to email them.
We
Bob
we
makes a
have-
lot of he teaches veterans from the US, that or can't
Yeah.
they can't
Military
do things
veterans, yeah.
anymore. The military veterans and injured people, the disabled people, and he
Yes.
teaches them. And obviously, he's got a thing going there. There's several.
Please contact us.
Yeah, we'd like to know more about that.
Right, because there's a few veteran organizations that we do currently support. If you could email the information again to customer service at easywoodtools.com, we'd love to take a look at it.
And
Yeah,
please
Bob.
mention that we discussed it here on
Yeah.
the live, so it doesn't get filtered off with a lot of other things
Right.
that customer service receives.
We get a lot of requests every day, as you can
Obviously
imagine,
you
and
do,
we
yeah.
can't
Yeah,
do
of
them
course
all. So she
We've
might
got
put
enough
it
on
in.
here tonight, bagging for tools. There's loads of them here. All these, you realize most of these people in the chat here are loaded. They've got money
Don't
haven't even
start.
earned yet.
Don't start.
Unbelievable.
So Douglas and Lucy were talking about. Douglas and Lucy were talking about the pricing on the website, and it was mentioned that they've now found the price. They found the pricing, but they can't find the shipping. But it was mentioned earlier, Christy. You said that the shipping is only done after checkout or at checkout, isn't it?
Actually, what will happen, you know that pop-up box I said you to click and continue past it? It actually told you in there that once you place your order, you actually check out. Then we get a kind of real-time quote from, we always try and ship it the cheapest way possible, whether it's USPS or UPS, and sometimes we have to go back and forth, and they keep changing daily. So once you actually purchase it, we will contact you with a quote on shipping. You'll get an email back letting you know what the shipping charge would be.
So
That's just for international.
So to follow up that question, is there a possibility to get unhandled tools in the UK?
Will Axminster do them? Can they order them or no?
They don't.
Only from your website.
Yeah, just currently it's just our website. I don't believe we have them on our Amazon site, correct, Doug?
We do not.
Yeah, because we do have our direct Amazon sites in the UK and the rest of Europe, but we don't have them on there. To be honest, there's never been a huge demand for them. It's kind of a niche for those that like to do their own, you know. I like to say people just love the pretty work we do, so they tend to get ours.
So the wood turners are obviously too lazy. They don't turn their own handles. I mean, you know.
So Ruby Claire has just made an offer there. She says, if you want someone to demonstrate your tools, I can demonstrate your tools whilst demonstrating the record power lathes.
She's a demonstrator for record power.
She's a demonstrator for record power.
Perfect in Canada.
Yeah,
So if you want somebody in October, there's a Ruby Claire's on the RPT list as well. So
what was the name on that? Who was
Ruby
the name?
Claire?
Ruby Claire, CLER.
CLER.
Okay. Ruby, can you email us at customerservice@easywoodtools.com? We actually just recently are expanding our demonstrator network. So we are taking applications for demonstrators worldwide at this point.
Right.
And so, anybody in the chat, don't you start. You're not getting free tools. Simple as that.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Wayne's.
Absolutely, but we do have an application process and some expectations of our demonstrator, but we've had a great response to that because the three of us can't be everywhere at one time.
Surely.
Just to let you know, Ruby demonstrates all over most of Europe as well, France, Britain, whatever.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Ruby.
Yeah, you're familiar.
Doug is, yeah.
Wayne has a question. He says, "Can you? This is for turners that use them. Those who have one of the beading tools, are they easy to use? As Valerie's arthritic hands, she struggles to turn a bead. She has to use a screw chisel instead. So
they are extremely easy to use. I will give you some tips on them. They are a little bit different than any other carbide tool. So pretty simple, basic, just like all of our tools. You want to keep the toolbar flat on your tool rest at all times, parallel to the floor, don't tip it. Put your lathe speed at the highest speed that is safe to turn whatever you're turning. Faster is better on these. They are negative rake. It's our negative rake technology on our beading cutters, so you can use them on all materials. When you start to advance slowly. Don't ram it right in. Just slowly start advancing it, and it will create the bead. And then once it's basically fully engaged in that back half, you can also, if you want to give further definition, rotate, as long as you're maintaining it slightly, right? Not over here or over here. Give slight rotation back and forth as long as you're keeping it flat on your tool rest. And you can create, here's some kind of examples of different ways you can use them. I don't know if you can see that. I kind of did a real thin one inside the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give a little definition, bottle stoppers, little kind of detail on them. They're a lot of fun. I've personally been going beading cut crazy. I've been and everything.
There, Wayne, you can try one tomorrow because the Yorkshire Kits just said he'll bring his tomorrow, so you can actually try. Valerie can try Glenn's, and then
Nice.
then you can buy her one.
Yeah.
So this cutter, these beading cutters, they look to be pretty simplistic. There's beading cutters on the market, or beading tools on the market now. But believe it or not, in high-speed steel. But believe it or not, these cutters took a year and a half to develop.
Wow.
So we wanted to make sure, as I said before, we don't want to be another one or a Me Too type of product. So we needed to make sure that we could find the easiest way to make beads with our cutters. And we've done extensive testing in developing these, not only testing against ourselves, but testing against others on the market. And I've not come across an easier way to make beads than these beading cutters. As Christy said, they do have the negative rake grind on them, so they are perfect for wood or resin materials. The negative rake technology makes it less aggressive, and that's why, as Christy mentioned again, the higher the speed, the better they're going to cut. The cutter itself is designed to be less aggressive, so it needs that speed to give a good, smooth cut.
So to answer
There you are. Speed it up.
Yes, they're easy. It's in the name. It's there in the name.
He's going to try it tomorrow because Glenn's going to take us down. There's a it's called
Makers Get Together.
It's called a pizza makers pizza day.
Makers Pizza.
Where Wayne makes pizza for all the makers that he invites.
Wayne and
By the way, everybody, I'm invited as well. So tough. So I'll see you tomorrow, Glenn, as well.
Wow. Now that's a crew there.
Well, Makers Pizza Day, and everybody gets together who are, the good ones get together, And
I'd like to know.
He's off again. He's off again.
I'd like to know how the pizza goes over, but I'd also like the feedback on the cutters as well.
On the cutters, okay. Yeah, you'll get that feedback. Glenn will let you out if nothing else.
How is
Wayne just stands there all day going like this, throwing pizzas in and out of the oven.
Love it.
Good.
So I've got a question for you. Are the carbide tips? Are they? Can you sharpen them, or when they're dull, are they? Is that it? You throw them away and buy another one.
I'm going to give you Doug and Chris would give you the 17 different engineered ways on this. I'm going to net it out for you. You can, but you are technically not sharpening. All the things you see out there with the diamond stones and doing all that, what you're really doing is making it less dull. You like this?
Stealing my thunder.
You're making it less dull because you're not technically, it is ground to a very specific point. And what you're doing is you're removing material. So you're not sharpening, you're removing material, which thereby makes it a little less dull, but you're also bending that carbide over. You can't see it on the surface, but you are technically bending it. So think of butter. If you cut out a knife, you're kind of wrapping it down. So what we always say is you will never get it factory sharp. If you're using any kind of sharpening stone, you won't get it factory sharp. The best explanation I heard from somebody was a year ago that said, it's going to get you through your project until you have time to get a replacement.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Just another thought as well. Do you recycle them? Can they save them and send them back and you
You can we do not, because again, like high-speed steel, when you sharpen high-speed steel, you aren't sharpening, you're removing material. To get that sharpness in our cutters, they would be, we personally wouldn't do that. Do we recycle? Yes, we do. We recycle our carbide, but we have the luxury of having a carbide facility and the ability to do that. We've actually, if anyone has any ideas, one of the things we've talked about for years is what we can do, or how can we easily offer a recycling program to not just our customers, but anyone with carbide cutters out there, you know, that
Send them back.
to be able to collect them and recycle them, and good for the environment, and donate the money to an environmental cause or something like that. Because you do get a little, it takes a lot of carbide to get money.
Yeah.
And that isn't the point on why we would do it. It would be more about, you know, good for the
Wastage in
environment.
the landfill and things and everything. Wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if any listeners out there have ideas, email them to us on, we've talked about it, we've kicked it around with people before, but it always seems to land at, how do you easily do it? And but if people want to mail them to us, you can absolutely mail them to us and we will recycle them. We have a bin that we collect scrap and things like that we're already doing that on.
Good. Okay, that's good. Roy says, question, easy word. He was late coming in, like Roy always is late. You know, he's down the pub most of the time.
Or watching
He's
football.
probably had a glass or a beer or two. He says he hasn't heard a lot, but how's Yorkshire grit doing now? Is it being made and sold in the US? All good, he hopes. So
it is.
Is there?
Actually,
Yeah.
Yorkshire grit is going great.
I mean, Glenn didn't sell you a dead herring or anything. Oh, you get rid of
No.
Because we know Glenn better than
You guys know better than that.
Definitely, Glenn. Here's what made our decision very easily. We were customers before we acquired Yorkshire grit from Glenn. You know, all those years ago, Chris and Doug went to Makers and brought some back, and we started using it, and then we'd find it here in the U.S. through the Walnut Log. So we were big fans. It works. It made the decision easy for us. We didn't change a thing.
you know that.
As I said, I can't remember if I said this earlier, Glenn came over to ensure that the ingredients, the way we're making it, the process, everything that he was doing, we have duplicated at our facility in Lexington. So the product stays the same. The only thing you notice on the packaging is it says buy Easywood Tools. is about the only thing. And honestly, dollar per ounce per gram, it is the same as any other product that's out there on the market if you look at the dollars per ounce. And it is the same high quality. That was the other thing. What drew us to it is Glenn manufactured that with a high standard. You saw what we do. It's a high standard. It kind of fit and hit kind of on all marks. But yeah, it's doing great. We have opened it up worldwide, and we know we're making grit all the time.
That's good. That is very good.
Dr.
Time to
Bob,
make it
Dr.
grit.
Bob wonders
Every
how you
time I
sell
wake
the
up.
white grit, the microfine. Do you sell the microfine as well?
Absolutely.
Dr.
Yep.
Bob,
Both.
yeah.
Both. Correct.
Both, yeah.
And they're both
Yes, they do,
made
Bob.
according to exactly.
According to the
Glenn will attest. It was when he left, he pretty much said it's Glenn approved. So
That's fine. Was he sober at the time, or? Well,
He
we won't go down
We
that.
won't get into that. We won't get into that on live.
Yeah, you know.
During working hours.
actually the
Qualify
funny,
that.
Glenn, can I pick on you a little bit? About 4 o'clock, he'd get a little antsy because we'd have him in the office. And he'd be going, is it cocktail time yet? Is it cocktail time?
Of course, that's 10 p.m. to Glenn.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
passes drink time.
think
Fred
the one
Gilliver's
thing-
asked a question. Oh, sorry, go. Yeah,
No,
Fred,
go.
Fred's asked a question. He said, "Is there an estimated lifespan of a number one carbide cutter?" Yes, Fred, there is. Depends on how much turning you do.
Nice answer.
It does.
Correct
Great
answer.
answer, yeah.
It's the hardest question for us to ask. It depends how much, what material,
Yeah.
how you use it.
You know, yeah. Yeah.
How often?
And somebody saying, is Steve still turning? Oh, Rob says Steve.
No.
Don't know,
No, he's
don't know,
finished.
Rob. None of us know. Nobody's taking
Hi,
any notice of it.
JP wants to know if Christy knows the lyrics to the Yorkshire Grit song.
Secret song. Do you know the lyrics of the Yorkshire Grit song?
If she
Have you never heard? Have you never heard Joe sing
I
it?
do.
You never heard
Hi
Joe sing it?
hi ho, it's off the trip we go. It will
No,
work.
that ain't it.
It'll work on every
No, Brian will sing it for you.
turn. How's that, Jake?
Brian will
Should I-
sing it for
should
No,
you.
he
I
won't.
Keep your day job, HR.
Terry's a singer in this group.
No, I'm not going to sing it. But Joe used to sing it every time. Well, she still does. Every time we use
Yep,
Yorkshire
she
Grit on
does.
the
Every
live.
time I use Yorkshire Grit in my life.
Joe comes in as
Joe
an earworm like we do now, like we're doing now. Joe's a moderator as well. She comes in, and then as soon as one of us uses Yorkshire Grit, she sings the song. So
She does.
and as she does
We
on
want to hear
We
it.
want
all the dogs in the
We
streets.
gotta hear it
on Friday.
now. What is
She
it?
sang it 3 times last Monday.
Go on, Brian,
Nope.
sing it. There you go.
Oh, Brian.
The camera
Somebody
shy.
needs to sing
The
the
camera
song.
shy now.
JP has just typed it in.
There's the lyrics. Hands that do pity can be
Yeah,
as soft
The
as your
problem is
face.
it's sung,
is
it's
light
sung
brown,
to
Yorkshire Gritty.
an advert that was only in the UK, I think. So
Liquid soap. The advert was what was the soap?
Like a song.
Very
it was
liquid.
very liquid, yeah. So
Very
you wouldn't get that in America.
I have a record.
It's
I'll
okay.
tell you what,
And
Christy,
you
I've
want
got a
Steve has a copy.
I've
Steve
got a
has the
record.
lyrics.
I've got a recording of it of Joe singing it, so I'll email it to you.
There you go. You can send that to Christy. She can learn it.
I will learn it and I will sing it next time I'm in Lexington and they're making the trip.
There you go.
Dave G Design wants to know, will you guys be back in MC
Maker
next
Central?
year?
See?
Not sure. Maker Central. We
Oh, Maker
haven't.
Central.
We're just now starting to work on our 2024 trade show commitments, so we don't have an answer yet on that one.
And Tendering Wood Turning is this question. How do you know when a carbide tool needs replacing? I think you'll start to just tear the wood up.
You'll
rather
start
than
getting
cut it
sawdust
properly.
versus turnings or shavings coming off. It'll start getting more
Shavings.
finer and look
Yep.
like sawdust.
After.
That's when we know.
And it'll be probably harder to cut.
Yep, and you
Yeah.
can feel it. To be honest, you use it enough, you do start to feel it. You can just tell the difference. But keep in mind, with the, I don't have any round ones here, square. With the carbide, when one side gets dull, you rotate it to a fresh side. So like the square has
You
the
get
sides.
4 cutters.
Yep. And then
4 cutters in one.
Yep.
Right.
and a little tip, use a little black marker after you rotate it under the edge.
Mhm.
Just take a Sharpie on the spent edge, put a Sharpie and that'll tell you that you already used it.
Very good.
Yep.
How are we doing? And Wayne says, can I just tell you that Dale from Maple Tree Studios Workshop wrote the
He
lyrics
did.
for that song. And he's cursed. He's been cursed
Yeah.
ever since. by the
Somebody
way,
has
Wayne.
to take credit.
Lynn's been hounded by it.
Yeah.
He can't stick it any longer. Even the parrot sings it.
Well,
Please,
during
parrots
negotiations,
singing.
I guess Glenn was holding back a little bit, huh, Chris?
He was. Yeah.
So,
He was hoping to include Joe in the sale.
Yeah.
Basically, the song goes with it.
He did offer that up.
She'll never make American Pop Idol or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Oh dear, bless him.
Well, I
and
definitely want to hear that.
Glenn's just said, so, are you coming to Harrogate? Oh, Doug is.
Yeah, I
Glenn.
was gonna
Apparently
say,
Doug is, yeah. He
I've
doesn't
been
know yet.
volunteered already.
Uh,
No, I think it would be an awesome show to attend because you hear 8,000-9,000 people coming through in a weekend,
Mhm.
just woodworking, a lot of wood turners as well. It would be awesome to see that concentration of people that know what you're talking about, or they come in and tell you things that you've maybe not heard. It would, just from a different aspect. It's always good to learn the voice of the customer. It's always cool to get that.
Yeah, and it is mostly all wood turners. I mean, some wives come as well that don't turn. I like mine hangs around and comes with me, but somewhere she's in there just because she likes to chat to people. But other than that, most of them are just.
Harrogate is about the only.
Oh, Dave G Designs.
Harrogate is about the only actual show in the UK that is specifically for wood turning, really.
It dedicated.
Yeah.
to wood turning. Dave G Design says, have you thought about doing the multi packs of the tips?
Actually,
Like
Yeah.
3 different tips
Yeah.
in packs
Yeah.
rather than buy them
Yep.
individually.
It's been brought up many times over the last 2 weeks, Chris and Christy, you know that. They're asking the questions during the showings.
It's something we have.
That would be good, I suppose,
discussed.
because it would save postage if the UK bought them for a start. Because if they buy one and then they buy another one, and type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
And also, you could buy like 6 different cutters if you got 6 different cutters for your different sizes. If you got the whole set, you just buy the different cutters. Can you?
It's
It would be
definitely on our
see.
radar. It's something
Yep,
to
it is.
explore doing, especially now with the beading cutters coming out, and the ability to almost bundle even all 7 cutters that go with those tools. So
Yeah.
Be a good idea. Package deal.
Right.
Thanks, Dave.
Any other questions?
JP's volunteering again. Look,
uh,
he
What's
says
he
if you
doing
bring
now?
your tools over, I can store them for you.
Don't you worry about that, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
We got you.
If you ever
fine.
come to Ireland, I'll store the tools for you. It'll be fine.
thank you.
Why not find Ireland? It was about that big.
So Brian, do you go?
Tiny little. It's a
That's just
principality of
fine,
England.
Gary.
Brian,
Principality
will
of
you
Yes.
be at Harrogate?
Yes, indeed, I will do.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you
All right.
are. Yeah, he's coming to stay with
I'm
me
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
before we go
I
up.
don't know why I agreed to that. I'm going to stay with Terry for a week. Oh.
Because you're too tight to pay for a hotel.
Can I stay with you?
Yeah,
Yeah, share with Brian. That's any trouble, Doug.
there's room.
Okay.
Yeah, that's no
Yeah,
big
share
deal.
with Brian next
I don't
room.
drink as much as Glenn.
Nobody does.
Nobody drinks as much
Nobody
as
does,
Glenn.
right.
Just a little bit
Nobody
less.
does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Dave G just said he's now buying a bead cutter, so there we are.
Okay.
Now he knows it
You're too
exists.
slow, Dave. I bought mine
That's good.
2 days ago. Excellent tool, by the way. Just so you know.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
First a treat.
Yeah, that's good.
Everybody
I think
who watched my
yeah.
live last night knows that.
Wayne the
Remember,
Woodturner says he'll be arrogant. Oh, not again, Wayne.
Ah,
Oh, no.
Wayne,
That's good. Any other questions, please?
Yeah. Any more questions for the
These-
Easy Wood Tools
these young
team?
people.
I'm feeling completely underdressed here, Terry. With these,
Yeah, we haven't got shirts, have we?
I mean, I've got a Nike tick on my shirt. I mean, what's going on there? Right.
No, see, I thought I'd wear a plain one so I can't be done for anything but you.
it's our official wardrobe.
Yeah.
Uniform.
Yeah, that's it.
I noticed that in a little factory tour as well.
Of course,
Everybody's wearing them.
you're probably working now because it's like lunchtime there, isn't it, or whatever? So,
Glenn says he's listening, you know.
Is he?
He's with.
listen, he's
A minute after the show's over, I'm taking my shirt off. I'm gonna go get myself one of those screwdrivers.
That's it, yeah, they're very nice, actually. Very nice.
Hey, it's almost empty.
My wife makes them for me. She's really good at
Glenn,
it.
Yeah.
Glenn, we know you're listening, and we love you, and we already miss you.
Yeah. Hurry back. Or I'll see you at Harrogate, it sounds like.
Sounds like it.
Sounds like, yeah.
Sounds like Doug will be buying you a pint at Harrogate.
Or
They
free.
make margaritas over there? They make margaritas in England, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do make margaritas, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't make them in the size Glenn drinks them, but they make them.
There's a satisfied customer.
Glenn.
It's good.
Shane Hurst says, I had a great time, a great and informative time talking to Easy Wood Tools at the AAW last year in Chattanooga.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
There's a satisfied customer right
Chattanooga
there.
Choo Choo.
That was
Like
that
that.
was a fun show.
Thank you.
Yeah, this year was,
On a
it
serious
was in
note,
our backyard. This year in Louisville, Kentucky.
William Kenny. See, this is the Irish for you. He lives in proper Ireland.
Proper
you know.
Ireland there.
On a serious note, what's wood turning? He thought he was coming to
Wood
see
turning.
sewing
Yeah, so,
or needlework. You know, that's what it is.
I don't know who wood is.
That's a good question.
How would we
That's a
know?
good question for
And
Dr.
And whether
Bob.
he's turning or not, I have no idea.
Are Easy Wood logo patches available?
Rods.
Oh,
Oh.
Can be.
Stickers
The
or-
patches,
Stickers.
like
Yeah,
like
or
I have on
patches
my,
with
like you have on your
t-shirts.
smock, like this look.
so little sew-on patches that you can sew onto your smocks and
On your
stuff.
smock, like, you know.
Like that.
There, look.
We don't, but if people want them, that's
It's
something easily we can do.
Yeah,
Email
sometimes
customer
people like to sew them on their
service
smocks.
at easywooddtools.com.
Yes, because email customers. I mean, if somebody puts an order in, say, for over $100, you get they chuck it in with it, and then they wear it on their
Can't
shirt,
do
don't they? You know.
Eats into
That's
it.
A badge of honor.
Yeah, whenever I
that's exactly
go
it,
demoing,
yeah.
I always wear a smock with logos who support me. So that's just another promotion, just another free promotion, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course
great
it is.
idea. Thank you. Actually, we've never been asked that or thought of it. So that's something certainly pretty easily we can do.
JP screaming in the background, yes, we want them.
Yeah. JP's also screaming that
Oh.
he's at the AAW is
Gotta
in
read his
Oregon
comment.
next year, and he'll be there. So
Yeah.
avoid Oregon next year.
Yeah,
You
let's not
Right.
go to Oregon if JP's going.
I'm gonna make a note about that right now.
Is JP going
Yep.
to Portland?
He's
Yeah.
going. Yeah, he's going to Oregon next year. Yeah.
That's because he just
Oh,
wants
boy.
to hang out with Al Carl.
That's exactly
That's what
right.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's what it is.
So Douglas Mungham's asking a question.
And
Oh, go
I've
on.
got a question. on, then,
Are you R&D in looking at other tools that can be fitted with them? I take it, obviously, your pieces, your tips. Is that what you mean, Douglas?
No, they said that.
Right,
They
there you
answered
go,
that
then.
earlier, I think. I asked the question, or somebody asked the question, was do the tips fit other turning tools? And the answer was yes, but they're not designed to because of the fit.
Right.
They could work loose because the tips are designed to work with the tools to have a perfect fit, so they don't move.
They're located in
that
two
was-
separate places. I with
If
the
they
screw
shift while
and
you're
with the backstop.
while you're cutting,
That's
if the
it's designed to
backstop
be
moves while it's
in
cutting,
that
then
tool.
you'll get a catastrophic
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
So yes, they do fit others, but at your peril, fit them. Basically, what
Just-
you're
Yeah, we
saying,
can't-
you know.
We can't guarantee which ones they would or wouldn't fit.
No.
It all
And no manufacturer would they? So yeah,
I have noticed in some other carbide manufacturing Chinesiums that
Chinesiums.
on their website it actually refers to their cutter and it says EasyWood Tool CI2 or CI1. So they're actually putting what their carbide cutters will
Chinese are
fit.
copying you basically.
right.
So-
Some
So the Chinese copy everything.
Exactly.
some
On it, he got a blow up Ruth, a wife.
Terry.
They just send her a picture, they'll make you one. It's easy. Don't talk back. Though, that's
Don't pay everything.
Poor old Ruth.
Poor Ruth. And she's in the chat too.
She's probably
That's
asleep now,
terrible.
isn't it? She's in the chat somewhere. She's probably asleep now. Any other questions? Anybody? No?
All right,
Oh,
here we
Huey.
are, huh?
Huey's
in.
just
Huey's
arrived.
Huey's in.
Hey.
Right, that's the other half of
Oh,
the quiz
Huey.
contestants. But you know, typical Huey. He's probably just woke up as
Oh.
well.
Douglas is asking, are you researching and developing other tools to use with the
Oh.
tips? I think that's what he's saying.
Always
Well,
Oh,
we asked that question earlier, and
off air.
Always looking.
always. We always
The answer we got was-
discuss them.
Watch this space.
Yep, we until we keep pretty tight-lipped on anything that's in our R&D. We're known as the innovators. We're typically first to come out with something, and so we do kind of hold that pretty close. But we're always got something in the hopper.
and what Christy did say at the beginning too was that they're willing to listen to turners who have got
Any of you?
suggestions for new tools.
Yep.
So if you've got an idea, pitch it.
Or a problem. If you have something that you struggle with, no matter what tool you're using, let us know, and maybe we can solve that with a new tool.
But ability doesn't count.
Hodgepodge is asking. Yeah.
No, yeah, ability.
So
doesn't
Robert from
count.
Hodgepodge is
Yeah,
asking,
Robert's saying.
will you guys be making a larger chuck?
A larger. Right now we're
Larger,
just doing ours is the 4-inch chuck. We don't have any plans at this point to make a bigger chuck, unless there's a need or a market.
Demand.
A
Demand
demand
is the thing,
for it.
yeah.
Our Easy is probably one of our most costly items to produce. I mean, it's hands down, it's the best chuck out there. I say that proudly, but also knowingly, and I think our fans would agree. it's the reason for the hefty price tag on it. Again, that's an item that we wouldn't sacrifice kind of quality to try and do it bigger or better or cheaper. So that's a tough one, unless there's a need. If there's a need to make a bigger one than a 4-inch.
I think a
Well,
4-inch
4 inches
is
pretty much big,
jaws
yeah.
can hold anything.
Yeah.
Well, can hold anything that a lathe can take. If you know what I mean.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. It's
Yeah.
pretty much the standard size, and with our cold jaws, you can get up to 20 inches using our cold jaws out of it.
Yeah, it's it'll load anything up to 20, 24 inches.
Rob, I don't drink, mate. So there's no cold pint waiting for me.
Oh, Steve's a teetotaler, but I'll drink orange juice.
Yeah, we know. We know, Tony.
Where's the handle for my screwdriver gone?
It's still afternoon here. We're still on water.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh, yeah.
we're on at nearly 9:30 in the evening. So I should be this.
Yeah.
I've done well tonight. Just did the one. I've been talking too much.
We know this, Terry. You don't have to tell
Yeah.
us.
I think that may be all the questions, chaps.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything you three would like to say to us? Other than buzz off.
I'll put my 2 cents in first and let Chris and Christy end it. But thank you very much for the invite. Thank you very much for the 2 hours that you gave us. We love what we do, and we love to answer the questions when they come about. I look forward to being at Harrogate, it sounds like. So hopefully I'll see you all in person and be able to shake your hand and have an orange juice.
Excellent, Doug.
It's,
Look
yeah,
forward to
I'll
meeting you.
buy you an orange
Yeah,
juice,
yeah.
Doug. It won't
And
be-
happy Father's Day to all the happy fathers on Sunday.
Oh,
Thanks
that's
very
another
much.
thing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, good.
Just again to repeat what Doug said, we appreciate you. We appreciate all of our customers, our supporters. This is the way that we get the information out there. I think earlier a comment was made that you do some demonstrations, and a large percentage of the people in that demonstration had never heard of our Yorkshire Grit product. This is how we get that word out there. This is how we inform people of what we do, what we offer, who we are. So we appreciate the opportunity to come on and share this information with everybody. So thank you very much for having us.
More than welcome.
To echo
Stand by, Chrissy's
Yeah.
turn. Chrissy's turn. Stand by.
to echo both.
Before you do,
Yeah.
Chrissy, before you say that, Glyn says, Chrissy can drink. Don't let her kid you.
secret's
Another
out
grant
the bag.
approval.
No.
She's been all sweet with the water, weren't she? She's been all sweet with the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after 5, it's on.
Yeah,
It's on.
I still can't keep up with you, Glenn, but thank you. I just echo both of them. This has been so much fun, and what a pleasure. Steve, Brian, Terry, thank you for having us. We love doing this and engaging and interacting, and everyone that's been watching has been phenomenal. We love seeing the comments and the questions. I think somebody said in a comment they were surprised. They thought Easywood Tools was this massive company, and surprised that we aren't. We are a worldwide company, but the one thing I like to think what sets us apart is we're very approachable. We're turners, we're in the community. The three of us, our team, we just believe in serving all of our fans and our customers, so it makes us very approachable. And we love doing these. So certainly any questions, anything you need, reach out to us. Some great ideas. You guys had some great suggestions, something to think about. So thank you. This has been a blast. And apparently, Doug, sorry, we apparently had a conversation that you weren't privy to about Harrogate.
Oh, right. Sorry, Doug. You weren't supposed to be here. You know.
Glenn,
Doug secretly wants to come to Harrogate now.
Yeah, of course it is.
And
no, I'd be
We just
happy.
cajole you
I'd be
into
really
doing
happy
that.
to come over there for that.
I will say he can go play, but Glenn, he can't pick up every one of your bar tabs.
Yeah, no. It's
No.
Glenn's turn.
Apparently, Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn's
Further
turn,
up the
right.
chat, I think
Glenn's
Glenn said
turn.
if you come to our grot, he'll just feed you and
Perfect.
keep you watered all weekend.
Exactly.
So it's not a problem.
Yeah,
But no, this has been a blast. Thank you. And
Thank
if we
you,
didn't-
guys.
If you have a question you didn't want to ask, just reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer.
So
all
Super.
right.
Just one quick one before you go. What is the email address to make any suggestions? That's from Rob at Cleanspore Abrasives.
I'm going to go back to customer service. It's kind of our main. We have a couple, but customer service is the best one. So it's spelled out customer service at easywoodtools.com. Anything you need, you can start there.
Yep.
Yeah, and you could put something like in the subject of the email was what was discussed on the live at
Yeah,
Steve's.
perfect.
Yep, just say
And suggestions.
just say
And
Steve's
suggestions.
live show as the subject, whatever, and that'll make sure it gets.
and I'll get the blame. Thanks, guys.
Triggered.
6,000
Well, you
junk
need the blame.
emails.
It's fine.
Right,
You need the blame.
right then, guys. Thank you very much, Doug, Christy, and
Thank you.
Chris. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Mum and Dad, Terry and Brian.
You're welcome.
Guys,
you're
don't go anywhere at the moment. We'll have a
She's been bitching
We'll have
all
a-
evening.
don't go anywhere, guys. We'll have a quick chat when we finish the live.
You stay
Right,
there,
so
Thank
thank you
you.
everybody for coming over and joining us. Some absolutely awesome questions. I'll just quickly show you what I actually did turn in the background.
We did turn something.
This is
yeah.
pre-recorded.
Yeah.
This is pre-recorded. No, joking. So I've give this 3 coats of acrylic lacquer. So I'll let that dry off, and then I'll buff it back and give it a few more coats, and then I'll finish it off. But anyway, that's what I turned. Something simple
Stunning
in the
colours,
background.
mate.
Well done.
Nice.
So let's just quickly come back on here before we say our goodbyes. Right,
Who's
so
doing that? Is that you, Christy?
right, so
No,
She's
that
found
was-
the love button.
Yeah.
right, so don't forget tomorrow night. Oh no, Wayne's not on tomorrow night because he's going to a Makers
Nope.
meetup. So I will
Wayne's
be
not
back
tomorrow.
Sunday lunchtime live.
Yeah.
Myself and my lovely
Pizza day.
wife. Terry will be on Sunday evening, and no Brian Monday because there's a club meeting, I
Yeah.
believe. So
There is indeed, yeah.
And don't forget Monday. Anybody, if you want to join Word Turning 360, I'm doing a thread demonstration on there. So
Okay.
join it tomorrow.
Monday
You
night.
can see it. See that
And,
Monday.
and just while you're there too, I'm doing a demonstration at Ulster Wood Turners. Yorkshire Grit will be featured.
Anybody?
next
Oh,
Wednesday.
thank you.
Anybody there want to
Very
go?
cool.
thanks, Brian.
Right. So other than that, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Speak to you soon. Take care and bye for now. Say bye, guys.
All right. See
Bye,
ya.
guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you for coming in, chat. See you later. Later.
That's all, folks.